Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to this deep dive where we're digging into your stack of sources, the notes you took, articles, research you pulled together. Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to this deep dive where we're digging into your stack of sources, the notes you took, articles, research you pulled together. Our mission here is really to cut through it all and pull out the most important nuggets, just giving you a shortcut to being well informed on this specific topic.
Exactly. And today, the focus is really sharp. It's notes and highlights from a recent Lafayette Chamber of Commerce Connectors meeting. Plus, some related material you included that sort of shines a light on the bigger picture these folks are working in.
Right. So it's more than just who was there. It's trying to get a feel for the local ecosystem, right? The flow of services, talent, nonprofits, what's actually happening on the ground. And going through your notes, one of the first things that really jumped out was the networking format they used.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like anything but standard. The notes describe it as really designed for genuine connection, not just those superficial exchanges.
Definitely. Seemed to cover a real range to specialized services, creatives, nonprofits. Your notes flagged it right away as something, well, different.
It did. The meeting experience itself sounds pretty lively. Excellent turnout, I gather, and a really diverse crowd. Business owners, entrepreneurs, nonprofits.
And then this networking musical chairs thing, Fred Steingraf coordinated it. What did the notes say about how that actually worked?
Well, it was rapid fire, quick pairings, like just 30 seconds to chat with someone.
30 seconds, wow.
Yeah, then bam, rotate to a new partner, quick, quick, quick. You'd have to be incredibly concise.
That really forces you to get right to the point. But the Knights mentioned a twist, a kind of brilliant twist to this.
Yes, this is where it gets really interesting. After those super quick rounds, everybody had to stand up and introduce the last person they talked to. Introduce them to the whole group.
That is smart. It totally changes the dynamic, doesn't it? You can't just be thinking about your own pitch or tuning out.
No way.
You actually have to listen because, well, you're on the hook for representing them.
Precisely. It forces active listening, makes you synthesize what you just heard, and really pushes for a deeper connection than just, swapping cards. I think that detail alone tells you something important about the intention behind these meetings.
It really does. Your notes also mentioned chamber staff were there, Holly and Grace, handling logistics before the main networking.
Yeah, keeping things running smoothly, sorting out projects and stuff before the open chat started.
Okay, so let's dive into the substance then. Who was actually there? What did they share? Based on your notes, what about the local businesses represented?
A really interesting mix. Okay, starting with legal services, Patrick's practice came up. Handles business law, startups, contracts, M&A, kind of the standard corporate stuff you might expect.
Okay, but there was a striking detail in your notes about that.
Yes, that roughly 75% of his work is actually estate planning.
75%. Wow, that's heavily weighted. What does that suggest about the local market there?
Well, it strongly suggests a huge need among Lafayette homeowners, probably East Bay folks generally, for help with California's probate system. With high property values, avoiding probate is just critical. And his focus on making trusts and estate plans seems simple and affordable. That clearly hits a major local need.
Simple and affordable estate planning for California homeowners. Yeah, I can see how that would resonate. Addresses a big pain point. Okay, what about the financial side?
So Fred Steingraf, the guy who ran the networking, he's in financial advisory. And your notes picked up on something interesting about his role. He feels a big part of his job now is being like an emotional counselor for clients.
An emotional counselor? How so?
Well, it's more than just investments and market talk. The note said he described it as helping clients navigate the anxiety, the hopes, the fears tied up with their money, especially when markets are shaky. It's acknowledging that money isn't just rational, right? It's deeply emotional.
That adds a really human dimension to it, helping people manage their feelings about the market, not just their portfolio in it.
Exactly. And his take on things like tariffs, market conditions, described as measured, keep an eye on things.
Right.
But for long-term investors, it's maybe not like past crises. And interestingly, your notes caught a mention of someone using AI to understand tariff impacts.
AI for tariffs
Yeah.
at a local level. That's a great example of how these bigger global issues and tech kind of filter down, even in a community setting.
It is. Shows tech integration isn't just for, the big guys.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. What about healthcare and wellness? What did your notes capture there?
Lots of variety there, too. Corrine was present. She's an acupuncturist and a spiritual coach, so representing that more holistic side, spiritual awareness, overall well-being.
And she's also involved in making local groups more accessible, wasn't she?
That's right, yeah. She chairs the Lafayette Business Women's Group, and they cleverly alternate meeting times, morning one month, afternoon the next. Your notes highlighted that as just a really practical way to help people with different schedules actually attend.
That is smart. Just a practical detail that makes a difference. What else on the health front?
There was mention of a new chiropractor setting up shop, and their approach sounds incredibly specific.
How specific are we talking?
They only work on the C1 and C2 vertebrae.
Just those two, the very top ones in the neck.
Yep, just those two. Sounds like a super niche, really focused practice.
Definitely.
Your notes described it as objective, measurement-based, functional, and apparently that kind of specialization is pretty rare, especially in the East Bay. They're looking for office space now, so that flags, a local growth opportunity right there.
A very specialized new service for the area. And the notes also mention a nonprofit in the wellness space.
Yes, the cancer support community. They do just vital work providing non-medical support. Things like support groups, workshops, exercise programs for patients and their families. That kind of support network is so crucial alongside the medical stuff.
Absolutely. And the representative shared some personal connections to the mission.
Yeah, which always just underscores the deep human impact of what they do.
So it sounds like Lafayette has a pretty well-rounded local ecosystem for well-being, huh? From super specialized physical care to holistic approaches and that essential emotional and social support from the nonprofits.
Yeah, it really seems that way.
Okay, moving to the creative sector. Your notes showed a strong showing there, too.
Definitely. Molly, an artist, is working on opening her own studio. So another potential new local spot.
Great. And Miriam sounded interesting. She has a kind of dual role, preschool teacher, but also organizing art shows.
Yeah, across the Bay Area.
Yeah.
It's such a cool combination. She's basically building bridges, right? Connecting local artists directly with buyers.
That's huge for creatives, making those market connections. You also noted landscape design people. Kristen doing residential landscapes and Maureen focusing on high-end residential gardens.
That's right. And then there was Kat, a goldsmith.
Oh, yeah. The notes mentioned her experience level.
40 years.
30 years.
Yeah, that kind of deep traditional craft knowledge is becoming so rare. Her shop does custom work, repairs, appraisals, even repurposing old jewelry.
Wow. 40 years. That's some serious expertise, someone you'd absolutely trust with, like a family heirloom. She sounds like a real community asset, preserving a valuable craft.
Totally. Almost part of the local history in a way.
Okay, what about essential business services? Cleaning, organizing, that sort of thing.
Catherine was mentioned. She represents a third-generation commercial cleaning and organizing company.
Third generation? Wow, that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
I know.
About stability, deep roots.
It really does.
Yeah.
And they're apparently looking to expand locally. That kind of multi-generational history suggests, a high level of trust and proven capability. Logan was also briefly mentioned, maybe in similar services.
So a mix of established family businesses and perhaps some newer players there too. Now, earlier you mentioned AI popping up with tariffs. Your notes also had a specific section on AI integration at the event itself.
Yes, it was like a highlight reel of how local folks are actually using AI and digital tools right now.
Yeah.
Showed this really forward-thinking vibe happening alongside the more traditional businesses.
What were some examples they shared?
Things like using AI for email marketing. MailSoft, got a specific mention. Stephanie Marone, who's in real estate, maybe using AI for targeted marketing, perhaps focusing on empty nesters or downsizers. Kim Ryle, building digital media platforms and brands. And Abe Nasser, using SEO and digital publishing through Publishzilla and the Speaker's Edge to boost online visibility.
So it's not just talk about AI. These are people actively integrating it into their local businesses day to day. That shows a real dynamism, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's that blend of adopting new tools alongside that deep established expertise we were just talking about, like the goldsmith.
Let's shift focus a bit to the nonprofit sector. Your notes really seem to emphasize their presence. Sounds like there's a lot of heart driving that part of the community.
Incredible heart, yeah, and real impact. And a surprising range, too. Period balls, for instance.
Period balls. What's their focus?
Such heartwarming work, really. They provide warm clothes to kids in hospitals, and they grant wishes through character visits.
Character visits, like costumed characters.
Yes. The notes specifically mention Moana, and even mermaids visiting sick children.
Mermaids, visiting kids in the hospital. That's lovely. Talk about bringing joy in really tough circumstances.
It really is. And they also focus on philanthropy education, teaching kids about giving back early on.
That's fantastic. What other nonprofits stood out in the notes?
ER was mentioned. They do the incredibly tough, crucial work with foster youth, finding safe places, providing essential daily support. That addresses such a fundamental, often urgent community need.
Absolutely vital work. Often goes unseen, too.
And the arts were represented on the nonprofit side, too, through the European Foundation. Gina, the chair and managing director, was there. They connect performing arts with the community, support local cultural stuff, adding that layer of enrichment.
So from mermaids bringing smiles to fundamental support for foster youth to arts enrichment, the nonprofit sector sounds deeply committed to well-being and really operating hand in hand with the business side of things.
They seem completely woven together, yeah.
Yeah.
Not like separate silos at all.
Was there any buzz in your notes about upcoming community stuff, new developments, events?
Yes, definitely some forward energy noted. Big news is the Lafayette Scoop ice cream shop opening in June.
Ah, ice cream. Always a good sign for community life.
And this isn't just any ice cream shop. They're featuring some big Bay Area names: Mitchell's, Old Town Creamery, Fenton's.
Oh, wow. The classics, the legendary spots. That sounds like it could become a major community hub.
Huge potential for foot traffic, yeah.
Yeah.
And interestingly, your notes mentioned the next Lafayette Connectors meeting is actually planned to be held at the Scoop.
Really? They're changing the location?
Yeah, which shows how quickly these new spots can become part of the community fabric.
That's a great way to integrate it right away. What about bigger events?
There's the Lafayette Art and Rhine Festival Mixer coming up July 30th. That's open to all members and includes vendor booths for businesses and nonprofits.
Art, wine, local businesses. Sounds like a good opportunity for broader visibility, bigger scale connections.
Exactly. And your notes also pointed out that Chamber's consistent ongoing activities beyond just these meetings, Business Women's Group with that smart alternating schedule, young professionals events, volunteer opportunities, educational speakers like someone from the Better Business Bureau recently. It shows it's not just random events. There's a steady effort to provide value and keep momentum going.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit then. Based on everything we've just pulled from your meeting notes, what's the big picture here? What does this collection of people, businesses, nonprofits, activities really tell us about this specific local ecosystem in Lafayette?
I think the most striking thing is just the deep interconnectedness of it all. It's really not a collection of isolated silos. You've got essential services rubbing shoulders with creatives. They're supporting each other, and they're deeply woven into the work the nonprofits are doing. Everything feels like it feeds into everything else.
And it shows how those bigger, even global things like market jitters or tariffs actually land locally, how they translate into human roles like that financial advisor becoming an emotional counselor. The global really meets the local in very tangible human ways.
It does. And the tech piece, too. Seeing local folks actually integrating AI, digital publishing. It shows they're not stuck in the past. There's this current of forward thinking, blending new tools with that really deep established expertise like the 40-year Goldsmith.
And that networking format, forcing people to introduce each other, this really felt like a deliberate statement, didn't it? About valuing meaningful connection over just collecting cards, really trying to build relationships.
Absolutely felt intentional. And the nonprofits. I mean, from the pure joy of mermaids visiting sick kids to the absolute necessity of supporting foster youth. It paints a clear picture of a community where social responsibility isn't just some add-on. It seems genuinely linked with commercial success here.
Plus, you see actual, tangible business development happening. The chiropractor needing space, the artist planning a studio, the cleaning company expanding, that ice cream shop opening up. These are concrete signs of dynamism.
It's that mix, isn't it? The stability you see in the multi-generational business, the long-term Goldsmith, alongside these new ventures and the tech adoption. It feels like a really healthy blend, old and new, kind of driving things forward together.
Yeah, your notes from this meeting really give a unique window into what seems like a very alive, engaged, evolving local scene. Really highlights the value of that face-to-face connection and having a rich network where expertise, creativity, and compassion all support each other.
And beyond just the meeting notes themselves, your sources also included some material that touched on broader concepts, related projects, things that seem connected to this kind of community building we've been discussing.
Right, like this idea of actively assembling parts of the American dream, as it was put.
Exactly. The source material talks about using tools like AI Audibles, and networking for publicity, for making connections, and for low-cost media marketing,
Yeah.
using tools like MailSoft.ly, which we actually saw an example of at the meeting, to invite people to events, promote participants.
It's presented as a kind of fusion, right, of modern digital tools, maybe like ChatGPT networking and more traditional media marketing. Sounds like an innovative approach to getting visibility.
And speaking of fusion, your sources mentioned FinFit Life, represented by Ron Horry. This was described more as a movement focused on health, wealth, and lifestyle, or, healthy, wealthy, and happy.
It sounds like an attempt to create a single platform addressing both health issues, like being overweight was mentioned, and financial situations. A startup in financial services, but with a global strategy too, expanding internationally.
Yeah, your sources highlighted it's described as maybe the only company combining health, wellness, and financial services quite like this, using incentives, gamification, even mentioned things like walking points, earning gift cards.
That gamification piece is interesting. And there were connections noted to medical testing companies for early cancer detection.
Yes, and the mission sounds like it's meant to be actively lived out, not just words on paper. Examples like the team doing workouts together. Plus, it offers a platform for people wanting to be their own boss, with a big emphasis on coaching and mentoring, which sort of ties back to that idea of building something for yourself.
It does. And this idea of adapting quickly, which feels so critical today, came up with that concept of AI Audibles.
Yes, like a coach calling an audible mid-game to adjust strategy on the fly. It's presented as vital for staying current because AI tech is just evolving so rapidly. Your source notes even suggested the pace of change might be faster now than in years, maybe measured in months even.
There's that pretty powerful quote in the source material, too. You're not going to lose your job to AI, you're going to lose your job to somebody else who knows how to use AI. That really hammers home the need for continuous learning, doesn't it?
It makes the case for ongoing AI education very starkly. And related to that, the AI Super Campus was mentioned.
Right, described as both a physical place and a movement. Your notes mentioned a specific Lafayette property that sounded pretty remarkable, mind-blowing, set in nature, trees, deer, turkeys, hawks.
Yeah, a tranquil, relaxing environment, described as great for thinking, for learning, for growing.
And this connects to the Great Discovery, which was presented as the intended location for something called the Podcast Listening Library of the American Dream.
The stated purpose being to export the American dream globally, aiming to protect its unique spirit, its mindset, teaching what this new American dream looks like, helping people plan and prepare their companies.
So the ultimate goal of the AI Super Campus and these AI Audibles seems tied to creating this global resource, this library for people wanting to be American dream creators. The idea is to help people elevate beyond just being content creators who might get lost in the noise to become creators who get heard. By being in the right place, engaging with specific content, like podcast listening with world-class teacher strainers at the Great Discovery.
It definitely presents a specific vision for leveraging tech and community to spread ideas globally. And that brings us back to that fusion and assembly line concept mentioned in your sources.
Right, the idea that what we're doing right now, this deep dive reviewing these notes, it's essentially assembling and reassembling content for listening.
Precisely. And the meeting itself was seen as just the start of an assembly line. People moved from that rapid networking to potentially having more in-depth meetings, 1.1s or groups, like the trifecta concept, 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 gatherings, seen as time-efficient ways to build synergy.
And combining these in-person interactions with media, like the AI Audibles, helps build someone's media presence alongside their real-world connections.
It shows a strategy, yeah. Building both in-person networks and online visibility in a coordinated way. And your notes even included that practical tip for integrating learning with activity, the Japanese walking, or 3x3 walking.
Oh, right. The interval walking, 3 minutes normal pace, 3 minutes faster, repeat, to make walking more intentional while you're listening or learning.
Just a simple technique, but it highlights that focus on being deliberate with how you use your time for both physical and mental growth.
And the source material circled back again to the importance of who you network with, emphasizing connecting with smart people, specifically those using AI effectively described as coming from top universities. The goal, again, being helping others get smart through continued AI education.
Yes, getting smarter not just professionally, but in all parts of life. Building relationships, combating loneliness, getting away from doom scrolling and brain rot, as the notes put it, cultivating real long-term friendships through a blend of in-person and, well, chat GPT networking.
The value of those long-term friendships was really explicitly highlighted as vital. And Ron Horry's role at FinFit was framed as more than just a business leader, right? Described as a guide, someone who helps people, listens, really super serves clients, and understands how to leverage tools like AI.
It does feel like these broader concepts, while distinct from the specific meeting notes, definitely resonate with those themes we saw reflected in the meeting itself. Community building, leveraging tech, personal growth.
So, thinking about everything we've just unpacked from your notes and sources, the nitty-gritty, the Lafayette meeting, the specific businesses and nonprofits, that unique networking style, and then these related, bigger ideas like AI Audibles, FinFit, the whole vision for an American Dream Library, here's maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to ponder.
You consider this really unique mix we encountered just in that one meeting snapshot. You've got a 40-year goldsmith preserving deep craft skills side by side with a chiropractor who has this incredibly specific focus on just two vertebrae. You have the third-generation family business expanding its roots, and nonprofits sending actual mermaids to visit sick kids while also doing the hard, essential work of supporting foster youth.
What does that particular combination, that blend of deep specific expertise, intergenerational stability, highly focused innovation, and just profound varied compassion, what does that tell you about what truly forms the resilient and prosperous bedrock of a local community in today's world? What are those essential, maybe sometimes unexpected layers that really hold a place like this together and drive it forward?
Thank you for joining us again today, entrepreneurs and business networkers. But wait, there's more. Listen to this short word from our sponsor. Engagement. That's the secret behind email inbox headliners. Networkers, I gotta ask you, are you sending out emails or not? No? You need to be checking in and following up. Then let me ask you this. Why do you think Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Marie Forleo, and Kim Commando and more all send emails? Because folks, no matter what you think of email, like it or not, email works. It will work for you too, if you're serious about networking, growing your influence, and building real relationships. You need to be following up right away. I'm Mike Hayes, founder of Cross Group Networking Strategy Training to grow all groups. I host podcast listening courses on the AI Super Campus, and I'm a longtime media veteran, starting with NBC TV and radio networks in New York. I've interviewed and studied the world's greatest communicators, including people who have become presidents of the United States. And right now, the United States government has launched the $500 billion AI communication movement. Whether you realize it or not, you're already involved. That's why I chose Mail Softly. Mail Softly is the AI-powered email marketing platform that makes it easy to create follow-ups that get read, get clicks, and get results. With Mail Softly, you get AI-generated emails that capture attention and convert. You get a drag and drop editor. So even if you're not a designer, you can create great, stunning emails in minutes. You get powerful automation that keeps your audience engaged 24/7. And you get advanced analytics, so you know exactly what's working and what's not. And that's why I use it. And right now, for a limited time, when you sign up for Mail Softly, even the free account, you'll get exclusive email training from the AI Super Campus. I've interviewed the AI inbox headliners from Oprah Winfrey and Tony Robbins, and I've analyzed the podcasting powerhouses of today, like Mel Robbins and Joe Rogan. And so I've developed one-of-a-kind podcast listening courses to teach you their AI student-teacher mindset. They learn from others and they teach. You too can learn how to practice podcast listening with my Mail Softly messages right in your inbox, free, so you can craft emails that connect, convert, and create lasting impact. And don't forget the best part, it's absolutely free. Just sign up for Mail Softly today, and this exclusive training is yours, no strings attached. Just click the link right below this video right now and start transforming your emails into powerful AI-driven engagement tools. Don't let your emails go unread. Make them work for you with Mail Softly and the AI Super Campus training. I'm Mike Hayes.